What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about Pretty Lethal. This is a 2026 Amazon film. It actually premiered at South by Southwest before, immediately going to Prime. So, sort of like what Hulu just did with Mike and Nick and Alice, where they used South by Southwest to sort of build word of mouth for their film. And of course, IFC. I just reviewed Forbidden Fruits. IFC did the same thing with Forbidden Fruits before putting in theaters. So there are a couple examples here of some films that went straight from South by Southwest to somewhere and are now available for you. So if you didn't go to South by Southwest, you can experience it already that quickly. And Ready or Not 2 was also at South by Southwest, which has already been theatrically released. So there's plenty of things. It's like, why even have the film festival? Like, why? But so this is a ballet action movie starring Maddie Ziegler, Iris Apatow, Millicent Simmons, Avantika, Uma Thurman, Lana Condor. Yeah, that's enough. And it does have audio description. I did not like the audio description on this. I did not. I actually didn't mind it for a while. It does a pretty decent job when it's just having to do sort of straight up action sequences. But then it gets down to there's a final dance that happens at the end of the film. They're ballerinas. And I thought the description of that, I'm not somebody to complain much about interpretive audio description where people are like, don't read too much into it. Like, she looks at him lovingly. It's like, how do you know? How do you know she looks at him lovingly? Do you know that she loves him? Like, do you know that? Why don't you just describe the look? Like, I think some people just get like really, I've seen some comments online. I'm like, calm down, calm down. There are like 100 other things happening on screen right now that you do not know about. Why don't you focus on those? So for this though, there's a way that they described it where I was like, okay, there are things here that you're saying that are starting to introduce a backstory that you don't even know could possibly happen. So light spoilers, but they use things like they dance like they've never danced before. Okay, but do you know that? Like, are you just incapable of describing dance? Because most of these companies have multiple writers. Pass off the project to a writer who's described dance before, because it felt like it was a writer who had no idea what dance was and couldn't describe it. So instead, they decided to make these big, large, bombastic claims about the dance itself, like, and make it sound like there was this over interpretation of how grand this moment was for this troupe. And it was a bit much. It was a bit much for me, even for me. And I like performative audio description, and I don't mind interpretive language being used unless it's being used excessively in this matter. This did not work for me. So the film follows a troupe of ballerinas who end up in the wrong place at the wrong time. Their bus breaks down in Hungary. They end up in this creepy little, well, it's not really that little. They end up in a creepy place that happens to be owned and operated by a former ballerina herself, played by Uma Thurman, who is now balancing between the world of crime and the world of whatever else she does. And the ballerinas are present when Hungarian mafia comes in and somebody dies, and then they're witnesses to it. So then the mob mafia people are like, well, what do we do with the ballerinas? Well, I guess we have to kill them. And so then it becomes about the ballerinas fighting to save their lives. And they don't have a particular set of skills. This isn't one of those films. The reason why some people like this is because for people who don't like girl boss movies, these aren't girls that are like naturally trained to be to beat up a lot of big strong men, but they are ballerinas. And the film sort of really utilizes their skills specifically to defeat their enemies. They find ways of putting things in their ballet point shoes and then dancing and dance fighting and killing. So it's kind of cheesy and kind of campy, kind of an action film in that regard. I'm not really sure Uma Thurman offered much here for me. She just feels like she's just doing like that Bond villain thing where, it's just sitting down, like she could be petting a cat and then, yes, Mr. Bond. Like it just, it's hard to read her, they do give her a little bit of a backstory, but for the most part, it feels like she's stuck in this criminal underworld thing where she's playing with the sort of the main mafia guys tied to his father runs like the criminal world there, and he's like, well, my father will, and she's like, I've sent invitations to your father, he's never come. I don't think he's ever gonna come for you, like, because he's kind of left here with that situation. So there's a cleaner that comes by, and there's also these various henchmen, and just in general, a lot of bad dudes. They do what the film lacks is like character development. So the girls don't really have unique personalities, especially like the trio of Iris Apatow, Lana Condor, and Avantika. I thought I lost the three of them in terms of personality. Like they could have been anybody. Oddly enough, Maddie Ziegler, her character Bones is given probably the leadership role here. She's the badass one that sort of fights back the most. So she feels like she has more character traits than anybody else does. And then also Millicent Simmons, who you'll remember from A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2. She's here playing the deaf ballerina. So I guess that's a character development / trait. Don't really know much else about her. Her sister is a ballerina. Which one is she related to? Is it Iris Apatow? I think it is. And so that's how they communicate. I forget her name. I think it's like Claire. That's what her name is. And she, for a while, is separated from. So they do something interesting with her, because when shit hits the fan, she's not with the rest of the ballerinas. So, and she has hearing aids. She has them out. She basically has them out for like the whole movie, so she can't really hear or interpret anything, and so she didn't hear even the gunshots or anything like that. So she's like living in a blissful world and ends up sort of becoming attracted to one of the goons in the thing and thinking like, ooh, maybe he'll give me a tattoo. So she has a completely different interpretation, makes it sort of interesting and gives her character sort of something to do. But as far as like Avantika, who was in the Mean Girls musical adaptation from a couple years ago, I think she's like a TikTok star. Lana Condor, who did those movies for Netflix, and also was Jubilee in X-Men. And Iris Apatow, who's, yes, I know, the last name, Iris and Maud, who were acting when they were little kids, are still acting today, thanks to their father and mother, Judd Apatow and Leslie Mann. So, not really surprised she's here. What's interesting is I thought Maddie Ziegler did the best job. So the girl that came out of a reality show, right? But she's also the actual dancer. Like she's the actual true dancer here. I have no idea what the other girls and what their history is, but Maddie Ziegler should theoretically be able to put them all like to shame. So the one who's actually, we know is a trained dancer because we saw her as a trained dancer. I remember she was a judge for a while, and so she can dance, and she wasn't even like 18. I think she was like 16 or something at the time. So she's lived her life in the public eye in that regard. And I remember her role in Book of Henry and that movie being like, what is this? Um, so it's not like she hasn't acted before, and she's kind of grown into this role. And I like seeing her as the tough one. I like seeing her as the character with something to do. It's weird. I did not, if you had told me which one of these am I going to like the least, I'd be like, well, probably Maddie Ziegler. Well, I liked her the most. Um, so I do like disability representation, so it's hard for me to say I didn't like Millicent Simmons' role. I just wish she had had more of a personality trait other than just deafness. Like deafness is not a personality trait. It's a thing that you are, but beyond that, what is she? And I feel like that question doesn't really get answered. But I could say the same thing about the other characters. I feel like they all just kind of get amalgamated into scared ballerinas who have to overcome their fears so that they can stay alive. I did not like the movie. I thought it was fine. Um, so the reason to watch the movie are the action sequences, the well choreographed, fun action fight sequences. If you're here for the story and for character development, it's going to disappoint you because the characters aren't well developed. The backstory with the mafia thing, it just bogs down the weight of the film. It's just like, who cares? Like they give some of these characters names before they come down, and it's like, I don't know, the character's not gonna be alive very long. Who cares? I mean, these are just random henchmen and bodyguards and thugs and stuff. Like I mean, they're just they have names so that when the girls are fighting, we're not up to, goon number 27. You know, so um, so they can give them all names. It's just easier to fight them, I guess, in that regard. Um, So Pretty Lethal. Should you watch it? Probably. Did a pretty. I know critics. Enough critics liked it at South by Southwest. I can see that. Amazon has not made a whole lot of great movies recently, so that have gone to their streaming service. Obviously, they have Project Hail Mary, so I need to clarify that real fast. But if you look at their streaming releases, it's been like Relationship Goals, The Wrecking Crew, Love Me, Love Me. Like, what else have they done? I feel like I've just been so under Melania. Like, I feel like I just keep looking on Prime Video and they're like, we have a new movie for you. I'm like, fuck. Like, what? War of the Worlds. When did we had Play Dirty, which for some reason didn't even work with the talent involved in that movie. I don't know why that film didn't work. I feel like I just keep watching these movies and they're just not great. Even the ones that I give fresh reviews to, they're not that far over the fresh line. And that's only because of, I'm like, well, this is not a great movie, but it was entertaining. I feel like they haven't truly put something great on their platform skipping theaters in a while. Whereas like Netflix, arguably, I did like War Machine, like could have gone to theaters. I would argue Pretty Lethal could have gone to theaters. I don't know how well it would have done, but it could have. Definitely would have. Definitely sucks less than some of the other films that they put out this year. So, yeah, I'm gonna give Pretty Lethal. I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, I liked it enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like it enough. It's fine. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.